Hello and welcome to day 49. Today's reading was Leviticus 16 to 18. Unfortunately, my son is actually up and is not settling. I'm going to whiz through this super fast. But following the death of Aaron's sons, the Lord speaks to Aaron, tells Moses to tell Aaron to be very intentional about how he comes before the Lord. He can't just walk in there whenever he chooses. There are rules around his entry. And in as much as it's very strict, it's actually for Aaron's own safety. He says here, for the ark's cover, the place of atonement is there, and I myself am present in the cloud above the atonement cover. Now, if you remember, I was pointing out that I tend to treat it similar to sort of physics, right? Light extinguishes darkness, and sin in the presence of holiness needs to be extinguished. It will be extinguished, right? It is just like physics. And so God actually, for Aaron's own safety, says, don't just come in there whenever you choose. Come in following the pattern, following the means by which you might enter. And there's all these sacrifices and how Aaron needs to wash himself before he comes in to the place so that he is made righteous, right with God before he steps before him, and so that he is not destroyed by God's presence because of his sin. I think that's something that we take for granted, which is that it's not necessarily even, and God is well within his right to do this, right? But it's not necessarily even wrath or anger. It's just sin cannot be in God's presence, and thus it needs to be extinguished, and that's what happens unless you do this thing to sort of cover your sin. Or for us on this side of history, we receive Christ who pays for our sin completely. And how does Christ pay for our sin? Well, here is, because God, in Leviticus 17, God makes a big deal out of not eating blood. And the reason for that is given here. For the life of the body is in the blood. I have given you the blood on the altar to purify you, making you right with the Lord. It is the blood given in exchange for a life that makes purification possible. In effect, it is the death. The wages of sin is death. Without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. All of these New Testament things I'm quoting comes from here. The blood, when given, is what makes purification possible. Up until now, they're sacrificing animals, but eventually it's God that then makes it possible for them to Christ to come and then sacrifice his life, and his blood then makes us clean all once and for all. And then there's just the sexual practices, and I'll speak more about this properly later on, because I need to go and take my son. But God is again sort of redefining what their society is. When you go through this, Abraham broke some of these laws. Isaac broke some of these laws. Jacob broke some of these laws. But they were all considered, the patriarchs of the religion because of God's grace. And here he's just sort of structuring society around his will. So that's today's reading. Tomorrow's reading is Leviticus 19 to 21. And God willing, tomorrow I'll be here and we'll go through it. All right. Peace out.